Hello everybody out there in the internet world and the comic book community. I'm Chris, he's Mike.
Hi Chris.
Hi Mike. And you're watching another Dark Avenger comic book review. Approximately a week late. I'm sorry guys, you know there's a lot of personal things going on in all of our lives right now, and you know, I try to read the comic books as fast as humanly possible, and right now they're a week delayed. However, the good news is I actually finished reading these earlier today, and I started reading this week's comic books earlier tonight. So I've read a fair deal of the comic books from this week. So if fortune shines bright on us, I might have this week's comic book review up sometime soon. I'm not going to give you guys a definite date, but I've done a lot of reading in the new comic books, and let's just say it looks really good that it actually might happen at the beginning of this coming week. The next Dark Avenger review, which is very good. For right now though, let's talk about the comics that were released last week, which was the first week of August, I believe August 1st.
Yes.
2012. One independent book this week, kind of scary. But then again, there were a lot of drops in the independent books and a lot of drops in DC Comics due to the Marvel Now coming out and finances for the next month. IDW Transformers Regeneration One, issue 82, Dinobot Month is here. And the story is split between two stories. Grimlock going to Nebulous to try to find a new body for himself because he's stuck in his robot form. He can't transform into his Tyrannosaurus Rex mode anymore. And the Wreckers, whom in the last issue we saw their ship destroyed by Megatron. Turns out they were escape pods. We didn't see that coming. I knew it was coming, at least. And they're now on Earth, and Earth is basically destroyed. There's no more humans at the moment. And basically the Autobots, or the Wreckers, are on the run from the Decepticons, whom basically Megatron lobotomized. Basically have no cognitive thought at all. They only listen and do whatever Megatron says, except for Starscream, who has the ability to think independently, but he still is forced to obey Megatron. And I don't want to say what happened to Ratchet. Let's just say it's not good. I want to give a good picture of Grimlock. This is the best one I got, I believe. Grimlock appears here, robot form. And he's going, as I said, to Nebulous to try to find a way to get his brain transferred into a new robot, so this way he'll be able to transform because he's stuck. While back on Cybertron, oh god, Ultra Magnus finds out about the Wreckers stealing his space shuttle and going to Earth, or leaving, they don't know where exactly, and Ultra Magnus is pissed off because he follows the rules, but he does want justice done. The Wreckers are still on the run from the lobotomized Decepticons, while on Nebulous, Grimlock is attacked by what seems to be humans or people that worked in the facility, and that's basically where he's left off. And Cup comes face to face with Megatron, who has a message he wants to send back to Cybertron, more to the point, to Optimus Prime himself. And it turns out there are humans left on Earth, and they're being protected by a certain guardian.
Oh, wow. And
we'll find out more about Circuit Smasher, who is the person that's guarding the humans, in the next issue. I'm looking forward to it. I'm enjoying Regeneration One. I still, as soon as I get some extra money, I'd love to get the special, which was issue 75 through 80. But for right now, it's really good. For those of you Transformer fans who really enjoyed this series way back before it was canceled, I would highly recommend you start picking this up again. It just continues from where it left off, and it's really good. I figure it continues from where it left off. I don't know. I didn't read back then when this was around. But it's a really good story. For those of you new readers, you can jump on right now, and you'll be pretty okay, actually. I'm pretty okay with what's going on right now. There are a couple of things that are like, but for the most part, I'm pretty good on the story. It's really fun read. If you're a Transformers fan, you'll definitely want to be reading this. Into DC Comics we go, and Night Owl issue 2. I'm still enjoying Night Owl. Wish I could show you guys some internal artwork. I actually am going to show you a little bit, but there is finally nudity.
What?
There's nudity.
Why?
Here's some artwork with Rorschach. There's nudity because basically Night Owl and Rorschach are chasing these two criminals, and they break into this joint where it's this woman who's like the head of these call girls, and Night Owl, the former Night Owl, tells the current Night Owl to not get involved with this, to stay kid friendly, don't put your nose in to this, because if they find out you're associated with this, they're going to it's going to be a mark against you, and you don't want that to happen. But of course Night Owl doesn't really listen. He starts to look into things, and let's just say by the end of the issue, he basically does the exact opposite of his predecessor, what his predecessor says to do, and it's to be continued. Straightforward issue, basically. I'm enjoying Night Owl. I like the team up with Rorschach. More to the point, in 2 weeks, Rorschach's first issue comes out. I'm looking forward to that. Highly recommend you guys check this out. I love the artwork. Story's holding on pretty good. It has 2 more issues to go. Definitely check it out. Really good. I'm enjoying the prequel, or the Before Watchmen series so far. Earth 2, number 4. The debut of the Atom, and I'll show you guys what the Atom looks like, is here. It's Hawkgirl, Jay Garrick, and Green Lantern versus Solomon Grundy. The artwork is beautiful in this book. I have to say, I do like the new Green Lantern costume, sort of. I'm still partial to the old DCU, though, so at the same time as all of this looks really, really good, like I like the costumes, it still would have been nicer that, you know, I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, the debut of the Atom. And he makes...
Oh, wow.
Like, everybody's having trouble. Hawkgirl, Flash, and Green Lantern are having trouble putting down Solomon Grundy, and here comes Atom, and he just squashes him. You know it's not over. That's just the way they have him designed. And you know, basically, that it's not over. They make it look like it's over by the end of this issue. However, we know that Grundy can't be beaten that easily, that fast. So the question is, what's going to happen next? We aren't going to know, however, until October, because the issue zeros are coming. And in the next issue, which is issue 0, it's Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, and the greatest villain of Earth 2 revealed. So we won't be seeing the next part of this story for 2 months. Yip-de-doo.
That's really something.
I hate when a story's interrupted midway through.
And then you have to wait an extra month.
Yes, it drives me crazy.
I know.
Can you check to make sure that the light's fully up, by the way, Cindy? Thank you. Cindy's actually working the camera in the back for us. Yeah, it goes that way. All the way. Much better. I feel a little bit brighter, guys. Earth 2 is okay. It's a nice story arc. It's basically slowly introducing new characters. We're in the 4th book, and we are now introduced to the 4th character. We had Green Lantern, Jay Garrick, Hawkgirl, and now the Atom. Up to you guys. I'm going to stick with it for a bit longer. It really just depends on how the story progresses. And with one story's progression, another one ends. The Funeral for Red Rocket in Justice League International, issue 12, the final issue. And they fight against the villain from the last issue that died, his brother. And it turns out that the brother is blaming the Justice Society for the person who was killed was Lightweaver. He's blaming the Justice League International for killing his brother, and he's basically it jumps from present back to the past a bit, to when they first show up at the gravesite, to how they're going to actually still keep the Justice League International open. So Lightweaver's brother shows up, and he starts a huge fight with the Justice League of International. I keep wanting to say Justice League of America. And the Justice League, of course, has to fight him. In the end, though, basically he makes the right decision. Who didn't see that coming? And Batman has the hugest news of all. And here's your spoiler, because this is the last issue anyway, guys. So if you haven't been reading it, you're not going to care at this point. Turns out that they're rebuilding Justice League International headquarters. However, they are going to be, it says, see the new headquarters in Justice League International annual, so there is one more issue to go, However, it won't be part of the numbering. It'll just be an annual. It's coming out during the 0 issues in September.
So it's going to be in the origin stories, but this is
no, it's not going to be in the origin stories. It's going to be the annual. In other words, it's going to be taking place.
So it's
they're going to be doing the origins, but at the same time, they're going to have the annual.
Okay.
So while everybody's doing their origin, they're going to conclude.
Because I thought they were doing headquarters of the after thing. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
But it turns out that Batwing and Batman are backing out of Justice League International, and basically this is how the team ends up by the end of the book. It's Guy Gardner, I forgot his name, the Lieutenant at Irons, Omac, Booster Gold, and Godiva. And that's where it's left off. And it says don't miss the annual. The annual will probably be the new headquarters and what's going to be happening next for Justice League International. It's a really good story. Dan Jurgens did an awesome job. I'm sad that it's ending. It's only been 1 year and the series is officially over. But it's one more book that won't be in my buy pile as of September. Obviously, I'm going to get the annual, but after the annual, there's nothing left. So I'm going to miss Justice League International. It was really good. I feel really bad that they are ending this. Guys, absolutely pick this up and trade. They'll have probably the first 6 issues in one trade, the last 6 issues in the other with the annual. It's something you're not going to want to miss, especially if you're a Booster Gold fan. Batman's in it. And Batwing's in it if you're a Batwing fan. Omac's in it for those of you who like Omac. And it just has a bunch of great characters in it. And it's something you definitely don't want to miss. It was really good. Smallville issue 4. Mike, you've read this with me. I enjoyed it. It's the end of the first episode in the series. It's Superman versus Hank Henshaw, now known as the Cyborg. And in the end, though, Superman's kind of screwed because now he has this like toxic level on him where Lex Luthor can track him. So basically, Superman can't go home.
He could find out where he is and stuff.
Right. So basically, Clark can't go back home. He can't go back to being Clark Kent until he gets rid of this toxic signature on his body. And
I like the fight scene he has with Hank. Like, it was just amazing. But also, what about that? Do you want to talk about the Chloe too or no?
You could talk about the Chloe Earth.
Yeah,
I'll do that, but let me just show some artwork really
there
quick.
seems to be like there's another Chloe, and she's from a different Earth called
2.
Earth 2. And there's something that happens to Chloe, and I don't want to spoil it unless you want to because
she was shot.
Yeah.
But we don't know by whom.
That's the mystery. We don't know
There's
who.
some artwork.
But it's amazing. The artwork's amazing. The story is just well put together, and
it's really good. I'm looking forward to seeing the whole Superman Lex Luthor kind of thing going get developing, because this is like the whole rivalry now developing. First we had the whole friendship that was destroyed. Now we have the Superman Lex Luthor rivalry going on, and yeah, it's really good. I can't wait for the next issue. It's amazing.
Yeah, they also say in the previous issue that there was the thing that they messed up on one of the episodes. I thought that was like something.
Yeah, they messed up on Season 2 episode guide, accidentally omitted number 6, Redux.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're on Season 2 now for the episode listings, and they missed episode 6. They made a mistake.
Well, everybody makes mistakes. Not like, So,
It's nice that they did that, but yeah, you don't really need this. If you've been watching Smallville since Season 1, you already know all the episodes and everything like that. This is more along the lines for people that basically didn't watch the TV series. It's to catch you guys up for those of you who are just reading the comic book for the first time.
But we watched full season.
Yeah, I missed Season 1. I have to admit, when it first came out, I wasn't really too keen on it. I missed the premiere.
I saw the premiere, actually.
I fell asleep before the premiere came on, so I basically just forgot about Smallville, and then Season 2, you dragged me to watch it, and that's when I started watching.
Well, really, the origin story of how they did, like, just Clark Kent just coming to Earth was just really...
Yeah, I did end up watching the episodes later on, and the season was amazing. Guys,
and the finale, too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's 10 seasons. They made a huge it's an omnibus kind of feel DVD set of all the seasons together.
Yep.
So it's a lot cheaper than buying them individually unless you buy on Amazon. So I would definitely say check out Smallville. It was a really good TV show. If Tom Mullins would have done the suit, though, this would have been on TV probably right now.
You've said it many times. We know. But
really quick, Action Comics number 12. The first ever Superman is revealed. And it turns out the first ever Superman was from Smallville. Except he was kind of denied. He was thrown out. He was blamed for everything, and Clark kind of comes to that realization towards the end of the issue. And it turns out his secret identity, Johnny Clark, his new secret identity, looks like they figure out that he died. So basically, his new secret identity died, just like Clark Kent. But at the end of the issue, basically, he had Clark Kent come back to life. Basically, he lied and said that Superman saved him, but he had to stay hidden. And then it turns out this woman works for the Fifth Dimension, and the word Mitzelflick comes up. And it turns out somebody from the Fifth Dimension is going after Superman, and that's what's going to be leading into the next story arc, I guess.
Yeah, I hate the red eyes of Superman. Like, it's just like...
What red eyes?
You know, keep going. Like, back.
Oh, and Superman performs.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
After he beats the guy and he goes away, basically Lois is so hurt that she has to undergo an operation, but there's not enough time to perform the operation. However, Superman goes to the library, does a ton of super speed research, and basically does the operation in... how long? 5 minutes.
Oh.
He did it in 5 minutes, the entire operation, and he uses heat vision, he uses... The weird thing was, using his thumbnail as a scalpel, he's like, my thumbnail is harder than diamond, and he uses his thumbnail and he just cuts into Lois. I'm like, this is something new. This is definitely something new.
Was it to save her?
Yeah, to save her.
Well, yeah, well, if it's for that reason. But
I love how in the very beginning, he's in like this weird mental state, and in this mental state, he's seeing like, he's like, what was it? Was it the very beginning? Yeah, he's like... Superman and him and Lois are married, but then it turns out they're not really married, so it's like kind of like a little tease, like, haha, we know this is the way it was 12 months ago, but now we're, you know, this is just like a little thingy for you guys to go, aw. So, up to you guys. As I said, I don't really recommend nor not recommend Action or Superman. I leave it up to you guys. In my opinion, it exists. Your opinion on it's up to you whether you want to buy it or not.
Okay, Green Arrow, issue number 12, Battle in the House of Death. As explained on the Dark Avenger Inc. Live.
Well, I already covered some of the live books we did, I think.
Well, yeah. Green Arrow goes to China to find out what's going on, and apparently in this issue, we find out why the boss was onto Oliver Queen. Apparently he wanted his wolf tech, and he wanted to take it because he wanted to build his own business and everything. And
go figure.
And he said, you know, your father would approve, and he's like saying, I don't think so, because his father built Queen Industries and then gave it to him when he died. He snatched his cell phone though, so that way he could find out of what's going on and stuff. I like how they talk about China, like, you know, about how the town is and everything. We get to know. He wants to look for this person, Susie Ming, or Mang, whatever it is. And it's really interesting. I like this part where he does the hollow woman.
Yeah.
Right there. And then he has a hollow gun. The artwork is pretty good, I have to be honest.
He's hardly in his Green Arrow costume, he said, in this issue.
Yeah, he's just really playing as the role of Oliver Queen. And the ending was kind of like...
weird.
Yeah, we're at Jim Fang's house, and yeah. I'm not going to spoil the ending part, but...
Looks like in the next issue, Green Arrow will be back.
Oh yeah, he will be, and the Chinese adventures will begin...
In 2 months.
In 2 months, because the Green Arrow is where the Archer's origin is revealed in issue 0, and I'm really looking forward to that, actually.
I just don't like when they interrupt the story to do an issue 0. I like when an issue 0 comes out when a story's over.
But I won't spoil the ending, guys. You just have to read it. The artwork's okay. The story is really good, though. I'd say pick it up. It's 12 issues into it, so...
2 trade paperbacks, basically.
I'm just really looking forward to issue 0 and so on and so forth.
Now, you hold this. We have Animal Man. and Swamp Thing, joint cover, issue number 12. Can you see it on the camera?
Sorta.
What do you mean, sorta?
You want me to go
Too low, too high?
Good. It would be better if it was zoomed in. You'd be able to
You want
see
me
it.
to zoom in?
There you go.
Oh.
There you go. Let's start with issue number 12 of Animal Man, because that's Rot World Prologue Part 1.
The crossover.
Buddy Baker. It basically goes to the point where Buddy Baker meets up with Swamp Thing. Basically, Buddy's tired of running away from the Rot. You know, his son is now sick. Cliff is sick. And the Rot is just going to continue to hunt them until he fights back. So he goes to the swamp to find Swamp Thing, and he finally does find Swamp Thing. Cliff goes missing because he's possessed by the Rot. And basically, this is the whole rundown. In the Animal Man story, it's basically the entire rundown of what happened to Animal Man up to this point. Then Swamp Thing and him jump into the Rot, and Swamp Thing roots himself on Earth. So he still has his abilities, or his connection to the green, whereas Animal Man is now cut off from the red.
Wow.
Also, out of the pool comes the Rot. And that's where it's left off in Animal Man. Where
What
then,
a way to leave it all.
but then it says to be continued right now in Swamp Thing issue 12.
Oh, wow.
Both issues are going to get the same rating this week, guys, because it's basically the same story continued in another book. So, basically, Abby and Buddy's wife are fighting, and also Maxine are fighting the Rot on Earth. Sorry, just give me a second. And Animal Man and Swamp Thing are climbing down to the center of the Rot now. Yes.
I thought it was going to be like the same issue, but different perspectives. Like the Swamp Thing will show his perspective, and then Animal Man.
No, I don't. I think that might be when it goes to.
Actually.
So it turns out Arcane planned this all out. You know, he knew that it was this was how he wanted it to happen. Turns out that the Swamp Thing and Animal Man get trapped in the Rot. Abby goes through a weird transformation, like the Rot gets stronger. Turns out Arcane has them trapped in the Rot, and it turns out time doesn't pass the same way in the Rot. That he actually says that a year has already passed, and the Rot basically won. So they get dropped back onto Earth, or so we believe, a year later, and the Rot has won. That's basically it. The Rot has won. And basically it says to be continued in October.
I like the last page.
But they're not going to be continued together, it turns out. It's split. October 3rd. Swamp Thing number 13, Rot World, The Green Kingdom Part 1. Animal Man 13, Rot World, The Red Kingdom Part 1. So the crossover we've been waiting for was for these two issues only. Now they're both basically going to probably be going back to facing the Rot on their own.
We had to see that coming. It was only a one-time issue. I mean, it would have been great if
I think that in the end they're going to cross over again. I think somehow by the Red Kingdom and the Green Kingdom are going to come together. Like they're going to do guest appearances.
Or they might do maybe from time to time. Would have been great though.
Yes. I left out a bunch of stuff for a reason, guys. You're going to want to read both these issues. Both the same story, though. You can't buy one without buying the other. So for those of you who have been buying Animal Man and ignoring Swamp Thing, you have no choice but to get Swamp Thing now, unless you want to be missing out on half your story. And for those of you who have been buying Swamp Thing and not Animal Man, like I started off doing, which was a wrong idea, you're going to have to buy Animal Man now, because the stories are basically now conjoined. And Rot World is basically going through both books, by the end of the next story arc for both these books, Rot World will be done, and then the series will be taking on their own paths afterwards.
It's cool how they join together.
Yeah,
like the comic
I'm
books.
looking forward to Rot World, but once Rot World is over, I hope they walk away from the Rot. Swamp Thing gets his own stories again, and Animal Man will continue on, or maybe Animal Man will end. We don't know. Maybe Swamp Thing will end when Rot World's over. Maybe both of them will end when Rot World's over. We don't know. But I hope that they don't end, and they'll go off and do their own stories.
We'll see as time goes on.
Yeah. What are we up to?
24.
24? We'll start Marvel. Peter Parker, Spider-Man, 156.1. The only comic book that is only getting a .1. Next week starts Sensational Spider-Man, where it's getting a .1. The week after, .2. And then Web of Spider-Man is getting a .1 and .2 as well. So basically this is the only issue that's getting one point and that's it. And basically this is just retelling the past. We've heard the story a million times how Spider-Man could have stopped the man that killed his uncle, and it turns out they're reopening the building, and yeah.
No, I'm just saying the only reason why it affects him so much was because it was a terrible experience. I mean, I know that we know it, but I think the writers just want to show the emotion of an everyday hero that, you know, thinks of that horrible tragedy that happened to his Uncle Ben in the...
Mm-hmm. And there's a whole thing that's going on in the warehouse and everything, but
whoa.
Yeah, that's just some extra stuff. Yeah, there's still something going on. They're reopening the place, and what's going on is there's some shady stuff going on inside of the place, and Spider-Man goes in, and he basically, as always, saves the day. And that's the end of Peter Parker. And we go into the next,
the
which
last
is sensational.
page was the best page.
Last page was really good. I could show that because there's no spoilers here.
Just that, you know.
It's just a short story while still summing up what happened in the past with Uncle Ben.
Yeah, well, and with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, that whole point of view is definitely pushed again in this issue. Really good. For those of you completionists, you can't finish your Peter Parker collection now without this point 1. And for those of you who aren't completionists and just interested in the 50 years of Spider-Man, here's the book for you. Next up, Avenging Spider-Man number 10. I called it The Girl's a Robot. She's a robot, and she was created by a company, and the company says she's private property, and the Avengers and and everybody else has no business with it, that they should leave. Of course, the girl is still a babe. Basically, in her mind, she's just a little kid, and she runs off. Spider-Man follows after her. The creator actually shows up. Turns out the creator was fired by the company. We don't know why, really. And in the end, it turns out the robot, her jetpack's going to blow up, but she knows she can't get it off in time, and yeah.
Wow.
But there's a really cool Carol Peter moment at the end of the book.
Who?
Carol, Captain Marvel.
Oh, Captain Marvel, right. Oh, Peter Parker really knows how to...
Oh, shut up.
What? It's true.
There were funny moments in this book, though. But once again, as I said about Avenging Spider-Man, they make Spider-Man's except for this page here, they really write the people that Spider-Man teams up with. They write them really out of character. Except for this moment here, this 2-page spread. Basically, Carol was very out of character as Captain Marvel, in my opinion. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. We just started reading Captain Marvel. Maybe she's in character. I don't know. But then in the end, basically, we find out where if the robot truly did die or not. And I'm not going to spoil that for you guys. Avenging Spider-Man, we're at 28. Avenging Spider-Man's been an okay book. I leave this up to you guys to check out if you're interested. I'm going to hold on to it for a bit longer, and we'll see where Avenging Spider-Man goes. Come back for the next part where we have the rest of Marvel, and we'll conclude this week's Dark Avenger comic book review. See you guys there.